Since you're in such a really like people would say saturated market over there in Texas.
I love it when people say that, like saturated. I'm like, did you not know that like everything is saturated, dude? You got millions of, like every day somebody's giving up. Somebody's saying I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm banking on every time somebody says I'm not doing this anymore. So hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
I cannot see you.
Oh my God. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this thing going. I had to do it on my phone because we're in the Crucible right now.
Oh,
can you see me?
Yes.
All right, cool. So yeah, this is titanium. That's RJ's chair over there where he does all his stuff at. So yeah, he's actually outside. He's taking a break because they're doing the Crucible here, and he was on stage, so he's just taking a break and going outside.
Oh, they're literally doing like the play?
No. So
I totally was like, wait, he's acting? No, like I'm so confused.
No, RJ holds an event every single month called the Crucible, and basically we teach them deep dive into how to use batch leads and pull leads, send text messages, the whole spiel, and then
got it.
And then we pull them in under our wing, under the mentorship, and private Facebook groups and all that stuff, so that they can close a lot more deals.
Oh my gosh, here I am thinking when you said stage, I'm like, wow, you guys are putting on a play right now? Like this is like the Crucible, the play?
No.
This makes way more sense. So awesome. Thank you so much for being so flexible. I'm sorry, the change in weather has like just started kicking in my migraines. So
oh wow, you too. I get migraines all the time after the military.
I get them. I'm usually pretty good, but once that weather, the pressure kicks in, I'm out. So I appreciate you being flexible. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
So where are you guys located again?
We're in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, I love it. Super poppin' area.
Yeah.
So tell me, all right, I know that you have like your partners and stuff. Can you kind of tell me your like background? How did you get into real estate investing and kind of like your journey to this point?
Okay, so I've had several companies prior. I did a lot of cabling for audio, video, and IT. So whenever buildings go up, we have to run in all the cables, right?
Right.
And I ended up, running that company for a minute, and my goal was always to get into the real estate side. And hold on a second. I'm going outside. I think Andrea Stakes is inside talking, and I think I was a little bit too loud. So anyways, so my goal was always to get into real estate. I just never knew how to get into it. I never had a license. I had friends that got into it, and I was always like, man, I want to get into it. And like, how do you do this? And I remember for about 3 years, I was watching wholesaling, and it was something that I just used to watch on my off time while I was, doing paperwork or fixing drones. Because I've had multiple companies. So on top of the fact that I had that one, I would fix drones locally for police departments, fire departments, for drone racers. And then I also had an Amazon shop. So in the process of my lunch breaks, I'd always watch YouTube. And it was always something that had to do with real estate. And one day I ended up seeing Max Maxwell's YouTube, and I'm just watching him, and I'm like, man, this guy's really onto something here. And I watched it forever, and I never pulled the trigger on anything because I was just like, well, I'm running my companies. Well, when we were transitioning from, mind you, I had bought land, and I didn't even realize that I was already like dabbling into real estate without even
knowing. You were already an investor without even knowing it.
Yeah, without even knowing it. I was like, well, I just have to, I don't know what to do with it. But in the process of trying to figure out how to move there, right, I ended up cutting everything because I was like, I'm not driving an hour to the office. and then just to work and then drive another hour home. So I was like, let me see if there's a way that I can just do this from the house, right? So while I close down the office and take everything to the house, in that transition, there was a moment where it was like you realize in that moment, you're like, I could restart all over right now on something totally different, and it wouldn't even matter because I'm at ground zero right now, right? So when I did that, there was a local RIA going on, and I went to go hang out, and there were some wholesalers there, and we started talking, and they were just like, bro, you just got to do it. And I was like, okay. And I went back to that YouTube video with Max, and I downloaded his, his promo thing to get into DealMachine, whatever. And I started driving for dollars. Boom, boom, boom. Putting houses, still doing my business. I go home, do my stuff. But I still find time to drive for dollars. And I drive for dollars, make a list. And in the process, I end up meeting another wholesaler. His name is Cole. He owns a company out here called What a Deal Homes. And I asked him a quick question on Facebook, and that triggered him to be like, dude, let's just meet up. And I was like, oh man, that's freaking insane. So we go to meet up. And when I meet up with this guy, we were talking about wholesaling. And in that process, he's like, you just got to start. And I heard it again. And I was like, well, look, I've been doing this, right? Doing the driving for dollars. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, well, let's pull out the info and see if we can skip trace it. And I was like, I don't even know where to skip trace, how to do it. So he showed me the process on how to do that. And in that process, we pulled a deal. We picked up a house in Carrollton. And if you look on my Instagram, you can see it, where we picked it up for $60, ended up selling it for $235 after like 65 peers of foundation issues and stuff like that. But the house came out beautiful. And when we did that, the buyer that we sold it to was like, can you do it again? And we were like, yeah, we can do it again.
Absolutely.
So we went back at it. And then we ended up doing a few more deals after that. And in that process, I ended up deciding, I was like, I want to have the access to the MLS and stuff like that, just so I can have different exit strategies. I mean, I just think it's smart to have it if you're going to do this. And in that process, I started to basically kind of go solo again because I needed to study a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And I started talking to RJ, just asking him little questions here and there, and he offered the Crucible, and I came, and then basically now we work together, So, but it's been a really cool app to use. I love the onboarding. So we picked up a deal in Euless, right? Based on your onboarding. I was able to bring one of my friends that I know that he's a landscaper, and he's always talking to me about, I want to get into real estate. And I say, well, look, how about you drive around for me? And whenever you see a nice house that you think is like empty and, broken down, and, through the onboarding, he was able to see like all the stuff, and he found us one of the deals, and we ended up selling it to one of my friends, and he converted it into a safe house that now we use for another organization that I'm with, called Freedom Shield Foundation. And now we're able to use that specific house now, two of them that he's done already with us, and now we use them for safe houses for women and children that have been sexually trafficked.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's amazing.
So the houses that we're finding with your DealMachine, we're able now to like sell it to a local buyer. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool story.
Are you building I know you said you have a friend that was driving or is driving. Do you have more drivers, or are you still like driving pretty regularly?
I drive pretty regularly, but I also have two drivers here, and then one in Orlando, my brother.
Oh, I was like, oh, Orlando, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Because he drives for a dispensary, so he's always driving around.
Oh, I love it. So he just like gets to, no, but he's in like all the areas, and he can just see like, hey, this is a nice area. Let's find a distressed home.
That's the beauty of the back end side that you guys have, so you can hire people. you know, and basically, don't tell nobody I told you this, but you can make Facebook ads for like local colleges that are looking for little side jobs, you know, or like Uber drivers or DoorDash drivers. And you just tell them like, here's free money. Like it's free money. Like you're already driving. You might as well keep your eyes open.
I mean, you're already making money one way. Why not make it another time? And then your time's just that much more valuable.
Exactly. And instead of looking for, okay, so this is what so when I used to drive for Favor back in the day, when I was trying to get my company going, I used to deliver pizza. I used to always figure out a way to make money. But so one of the things was like, once you deliver the food, you're stuck. You're like, okay, so now where do I go to get the next one? You got to go somewhere where, you know, but in the process, you know, some people just choose to like sit where they're at. And I was like, well, if you're already in a neighborhood, just quit driving around. And as you're driving, the algorithm will pick that you're driving and boom, drop you another order. But in the process, you're snapping shots, you know, and you never know if I end up selling one of those, you know, and then you get money. And look at now the landscaper guy, his name is Jason. He's already shot me too, and we've sold both of them.
Holy cow. Now how did you do like just for people who maybe are starting to like get drivers, how did you do a payout with him? Was it a commission? Was it like just a flat rate?
So the way that we did it was a flat rate.
Okay.
It's $1,000. We shot him.
Not a bad rate.
So it's not a bad rate. You know, I mean, I honestly think is like, if you want to keep them enticed and like on fire, you can't be stingy. You know, you just put it into the numbers, bro, and it'll work out.
That's where that's where it starts to fall off, right? Because it's just like, well, I'm doing all this and I'm not really getting much out of it. But you like you can tell your energy is really addicting too, because you can tell you're passionate about it. So that like in turn helps them like feel you know, woo, let's go, let's drive.
Let's do it, right?
So how many properties, since you're in such a really like people would say saturated market over there in Texas?
I love it when people say that, like saturated. I'm like, did you not know that like everything is saturated, dude? We got millions that like every day somebody's giving up. Somebody's saying I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm banking on every time somebody says I'm not doing this anymore. So
how many leads would you say you add driving for dollars that results in one deal in that area?
Man, I want to say we only had about, honestly, when when we pulled those deals, I didn't have anything but much like 800 to 500, 500 to 800. And man, you do that quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like a lot. It really does. At first, when you think about it, you can do that quick, really.
Yeah, I just drove yesterday and I couldn't believe I went like 2 blocks and I got like 10 properties and it was a good neighborhood. Like, but it was a sleepy older neighborhood. So that's why it's like the houses were good, but like, you know that there's some possibilities there where it's vacant or whatever it is.
Yeah. And, you know, there's other companies that I had a little Joe Biden moment there. So sorry. Had a fly land on my head. But you know, there's other companies that claim to do what you do, and none of them meet the standard.
I love your content that you've like. I love that we connected over Instagram because like I followed you and I'm like, man, this guy's like super inspirational. Like I'm just like, let's go driving. I would love for you to even do like do some collabs and do like a live lunch and learn or something like that if you're open to it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I really want to get into the collabing, and the lives are really great because then people can like ask questions. Because I know people will ask you. You have a ton of people in your area like that are like, oh, I want to get into real estate investing. Do you find that a lot of like for the crucible that you guys do you guys offer like to have them drive at all or anything like that to like kind of get into it, or is that just like a
so we always emphasize in driving, okay, because it's a way to bring in deals, but we don't, you know, that's actually a good idea that you said that would be something good to do, to take them out and actually show them, you know, like the processes and stuff like that. for the driving for dollar side. But yeah, no, I mean, right now we haven't implemented that, but it's a good idea.
I just wondered because it's like I know my first toe dip into real estate investing was driving for dollars with David, and that was like he was telling me what I needed to look for and like all that good stuff. And what would you say for, you said you've done some partnerships. Do you have any advice for people who are looking to partner with someone? Because some people I think get nervous with like maybe difference of opinion or working too close and then they're, butting heads. What would you say are some advice to keep things like to make a partnership work, I guess?
Always from day one, set your boundaries. Okay. You gotta have the expectation from day one. I'm talking about A to Z. It's not just like, well, I'm gonna just get in and we'll figure it out as the game plays. You can't do that, especially when you partner with people. You gotta have the game plan, black and white, your expectations, black and white, boundaries, black and white, so that no one will ever cross their limits, and then you can hold each other accountable. You guys have to be able to hold each other accountable, because if you can't hold each other accountable, then there's going to be so many things that you're just going to say like, oh, water under the bridge, and then one day you're going to explode.
Well, and I feel like then it's like things might slip through the cracks and
that's what I'm saying.
Don't even know like what happens.
Yep.
And are you just have one partner, or do you guys have a pretty big office there? Like, well, it looks like it at least.
Oh, no. So a lot of the guys that are in the office here have I want to say it's like their own entity, but like they team up, and then they get a percentage of whatever deals that they do, right? But then the ones like, let's say me and a couple of the other guys that like came in as a separate entity, we closed deals JV'd.
Got it.
So it's just, I guess it matters like where are you in your walk in the real estate side, because what I like about here, honestly, is like some of the people that they come and they're excited, but then they realize real fast like marketing's expensive, right? So they had the option of working side by side and taking a percentage as you build your pipeline. And then once you get to a point that you can now afford your own marketing, handle the back end and all that stuff, and you just take off by yourself, and then we start JVing, right? But if you're already on a side where you can handle it all and you're fine, and you just needed some, like just a team to back you up and some extra information, then you're fine. I mean, you can JV all day long.
Oh, I love
and
that.
It's good
like
because RJ already has a huge pipeline of buyers. So I was like, why would I even try? Like, if I knock out a deal 50-50, sounds good to me anyways. I mean, we can get into another conversation when it gets into like financial literacy. I've set up my life in a way that I could work in a drive-thru a McDonald's and still be like perfectly fine. So 50-50 on a deal, I'm like, great, that's fine with me.
I love that. And I mean, you seem to have like really great networking skills, because you're like, I partnered with this person, I got with RJ, like, and that's what I think a lot of people don't realize, how much networking plays a part in the real estate investing industry. Like you have to network. You're networking every day, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And are you guys for reach out? I know you said marketing gets expensive, and I know you said you skip trace. Is there what is your cadence for like reach out? Do you do a mail marketing campaign? Do you cold call? Do you text? Like, what does that look like?
So we text, cold call, and then also do PPC leads, VA leads.
Wow.
Now the cadence on how we do it, honestly, I don't want to say that we have like a specific way really, but we have our follow-up side, and we follow up. We hit that follow-up all the time. You know what I mean? Make sure that follow-up is done. So I kind of feel like if you put those barriers, people are going to try to pass them and make it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's just the expectation is this: hit the follow-up.
I want to be very respectful of your time. I do have one question that's been burning that a lot of people have been asking. And as someone who's like grown in real estate investing, what would you say to someone who comes up and says, I don't know how to negotiate? Like, what would you say for them to do, or what advice would you give them?
Um, Honestly, learning how to negotiate is something that is a constant learning thing. So it's not like you can say like, okay, I'm a good negotiator now, because every single phone call is different.
Yeah.
You know, so the negotiation side, I think, is more about the willingness to expose yourself to that initial situation. And if you mess it up, you mess it up. If you did good, awesome. You know, learn from the ones that you didn't make deals out of, and then, you know, just keep moving forward. But it's about exposing yourself and stepping out and doing it. You know what I mean? And not just saying like, I do a thing, but you don't really ever do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You're getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the new guys like, oh, well, I'll just put VAs. Well, you can't do a VA if you've never done it.
That is so true. I feel that. Well, thank you so much. And I really want to, I am going to reach out so we can figure out a lunch and learn, because that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome. It was so great to talk to you, Cruz. We'll talk soon, okay?
You too, bud.
All
Light you
right.
up.
Bye.